with what is. And don't think that person across the room can't feel that. They feel your emotional unity. They feel your emotional generosity. They feel your total emotional presence with them. And suddenly they feel better for having noticed that you're not retracting in the presence of their energy, but you're okay. You're okay with whatever is going on right now. And your okayness produces their okayness. And then it gets down to, like they used to say on those T-shirts 25 years ago, I'm okay and you're okay. And that's just a beginning description of what it feels like to be one with another, not just intimate, yeah? That's about as close as I can come to describing that experience. Now, so I start with a single person, in this case my significant other, and then I see if I can't carry that experience, that experiment with oneness, and experiment with oneness, interesting way to put it, see if I can't extend that outward to other people in my life, people I'm going to meet in the day, and see if I can't relate at an energy level, at an energetic level, with their experience, so that we can have a shared experience. See, oneness ultimately is, as you watch the screen now, it says, oneness is a shared experience. I even do the sound effects to make it even better. Oneness is a shared experience. That's what we're talking about. So you extend that experiment outward from your significant other to members of your family, your extended family, your friends, your associates at work, wherever, even people on the street. You know, people, the policeman on the corner, the coffee person. You know, what do they call? What do they call people who give you coffee at the? Barista. Yeah, the barista. Yeah, right, the barista at the coffee shop and so forth. So whoever it is that you're encountering. What could it be like? And then it goes beyond just the people. It goes to all things. Animals, dogs, cats, kittens, animals you encounter in some way or another. And then stuff, trees, plants, but pretty soon you kind of move through the world and you realize, gosh, you know what? I'm really one with everything. Which reminds me of the wonderful story of the guy in New York City with the Coney Island hot dog vendor. He was a new age hot dog vendor. So the guy walks up to him and he says, hey, can I have something to eat? And the hot dog vendor says, I can do better than that. I can make you one with everything. So the guy says, okay, give me one with everything. He rolls his eyes, and new age guy, well, whatever, give me one with everything. So the guy gives him a hot dog with relish and onions and ketchup and mustard, and he gives him one with everything. And he gives him the hot dog, and the guy gives him a $20 bill. He says, thank you, turns around and walks away with his cart. The guy says, wait a minute, 20 bucks for a hot dog? Where's the change? And the hot dog vendor says over his shoulder, change must come with time. That was a funnier story when I told it in a group in Chicago. Okay, but anyway, the point is one with everything. So when I can't get the technicians to laugh, I know the joke fell flat. But anyway, so it's about feeling one with everything, and that can manifest itself like an altered state of consciousness. I mean, you might walk down the street and people really think you're spaced out, and they'll say to you, "What's going on?" Like, what's up? If somebody you know meets you on the street, they say, whoa, you look kind of like, hello, a little airy. You okay? Yes, I'm very okay. But I'm just stepping into the richness, just the fullness of noticing that I really am, at some fundamental level, one with everything. What it feels like is simply being in love with life. That's what it feels like. You're just in love with life, with the clouds and the sky and the air and the trees and and whatever you're encountering. That's a great feeling. I don't know if it's possible. I mean, I haven't found a way yet to feel that 24 hours a day without stopping. But more and more, you step into that. More and more, you step into that. Ever had that feeling when you get up on the first really delicious spring morning, and you can literally smell it in the air, and you just stand outside before you get to your car, you're going from the house to the car, and you go, oh, wow. I can actually smell life out here. I can smell the trees, the grass, you know, the rain that fell last night. I can smell the dew, and then I can feel the dew on the leaves of the plants and the flowers on the way to the car. That's kind of what I'm talking about. But to feel that way, if not all the time, a lot of the time, that's the blessing of experiencing we are all one. The next major affirmation that I want to share with you, that I hope that you will take into your life and make part of your own experience, is this wonderful two-word affirmation: there's enough. And now, there's enough is so powerful that if we embrace it as a living reality, we never step into fear again about not having enough, about insufficiency, about things running out, or about lack. So I hope that you can embrace the notion there's enough. And by the way, embracing that notion is easier. This is easier done than said, maybe, because your life is living proof of it. See, if there weren't enough, you wouldn't be here right now. Clearly, there's enough. There's enough of everything you really need to be present, to be here, and even, if you please, to be happy. It's all a matter of point of view. And what I've realized in my life is that when I think about it, in every moment of my life, there has been enough. There's enough time, there's enough energy, there's enough money, there's enough power, there's enough love, there's enough food, water, there's enough of whatever I need, because I notice I'm here. I'm living proof that there's enough. What makes me think that in the next moment of now, there will not be enough when there's been enough thus far? I mean, I've made it this far, so why do I think it'll be any different? But here's what's interesting when we use that affirmation with all the power that can be invested in it. See, what makes you think there won't be enough tomorrow when there's been enough thus far? When you decide, you know, he's got a point. Good point. Probably will be enough tomorrow. Suddenly, your notion that that is correct, suddenly your notion that, you know what, there probably will be enough tomorrow, produces enough tomorrow. Because the way you hold tomorrow in the todays of your life produces the tomorrows that you choose and that you wish for and that you select in the tomorrows of your life. So interestingly enough, the willingness to embrace, but not, like, I want to make this clear, not embracing it as an idea, but as a truth. Not like there are two ways of experiencing. You know, for instance, here's an example. Oh, it'll be all right. Yeah, everything will be okay. Or it'll be fine. Everything will be okay. It's just two different energies. One is, well, it'll be all right. Everything will be okay. You know, and behind the words, I hope. I hope. And the other person says, it'll be fine. It's going to be terrific. No problem. And you can tell by the energy that that person holds that he absolutely believes that. It's not wishful thinking. So I need you to move into a place where you absolutely believe there's enough. There's enough. My father put it another way when I was a child. Perhaps you heard this from your parents as well. I heard this from my dad all my childhood. He'd say, son, there's more where that came from. Whatever it was, you know, if I had a banana, you know, and I finished it when I was like 4, and I was kind of like sad because, oh, no more banana, you'd say, son, there's more where that came from. You know, if I was having popcorn at the movies and I was sad because the popcorn was running out, hey, there's more where that came from. Or whatever it was that I allowed myself to feel that there was not enough of, my father would say, there's more where that came from, what's the problem? And, you know, you would think I would learn that in about 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 years. Around 30 or 40 years it took me to learn that, but I did ultimately learn that. Somewhere in my 40s or my early 50s, I kind of settled into, you know what? There's enough. I'm getting it. I always have what I need. Now the question is whether I can be happy with what I have. See, happiness is not created by having what you want. Happiness is created by wanting what you have. The next affirmation that I want to share with you that's very, very powerful. This one is one that really did affect and change my life. The affirmation is, There's nothing we have to do. And this is the most misunderstood of the messages from my experience in conversations with God. That is, when people talk to me about it, this is the one that they misunderstand the most. There's nothing we have to do. Well, then why do anything? Neale, you talk a lot about, becoming spiritually involved as a spiritual activist, and getting involved with your own life and doing this and doing that. Why bother doing anything if God says there's nothing we have to do? And so I'm always having to explain what that affirmation means. But it's a very powerful affirmation when we do understand exactly what it means. What it means is that there's nothing you're required to do. And maybe it would have been easier if God had put it that way, but I think God wanted us to think a little bit about it. To think, well, what is that all about? There's nothing we have to do. There's nothing we have to do does not mean there's nothing we will do, or that we will choose to do, or that we will want to do, or that we will be doing in our lives. See, life is about being and doing. We step into a place of beingness, and from that place of beingness emerges a doingness function in the world. But it's not the other way around. Many people think that there is something we have to do, that is something that we are required to do by God or by life or by the situation or the circumstance. I got to do this, I got to do this. The old saying, do what you have to do. Well, just do what you have to do, Jim. I understand. Nobody has to do anything. That affirmation was so powerful for me when I really grasped the implications of it. What if it was true that there's nothing you have to do, nothing that you're required to do by any person, by any situation, by any circumstance? Everything that you do is done out of choice. Sometimes it's what do they call it, Hobson's choice? Is that what the phrase they use? When it looks like there's no real choice, it's like, the choice between two evils, if you will. But it is, in fact, nevertheless, and inarguably, always a choice. It's always a choice. So there's nothing you have to do has placed the power back over here in my life and allowed me to notice that, all the choices I'm making, every one, are choices that I'm making. See, all the choices I'm making are choices I'm making. They're not things I'm being required to do. It's not stuff I have to do. So that has opened up a whole new vista for me, a whole new way of seeing life, a whole new way of experiencing life that puts me, in fact, in the driver's seat and allows me to notice something that I said to you earlier in one of the prior lessons. Nobody does anything they don't want to do. So once we get that affirmation clear in our minds, we start to feel empowered. We start to step closer and closer to what it's like to live your life as God. These affirmations, remember, that I'm sharing with you today are affirmations that allow you to live your life as God.